And our very special guest today on Absolutely Famous is Genaea Calvert. Genaea lives in Christchurch, the beautiful garden city in the South Island, and is co-owner, along with her husband Dean, of three very fine pubs in the garden city: the Valley Inn, the Protocol and the Brickworks. Genaea, good morning. That's a pretty big portfolio to look after each week.
Yeah, it keeps us busy, keeps us entertained.
Yeah, so how did you get into the pubs? Give us a bit of a background to that.
Well, historically, my family have always been in hospitality. So my parents were caterers in their younger years, and from there, I worked in a few bars myself, and then went to Australia. I was working for a hospitality-based software company, and then on returning back to New Zealand, I met Dean, and he already owned the Valley Inn, and so um, we got married, and then we bought out his business partner, and it was all go from there. Started
Yes,
acquiring other businesses.
yeah, well, I know the Valley Inn well because it was an old regular of mine back in the 70s. Me and the boys used to
Yeah,
go there
that
on
was
a
before my time. I never went out to the old pub. I wasn't around then, so
yeah
yeah,
they had a great band out there. I forget the name of it, but it was that's what we went out to listen to. Great
yeah,
spot.
yeah.
So all your pubs have got they're different, aren't they? They've got a point of different. They're not all the same.
No, they're not. They're all good local bars, so we're all suburban bars, which I think works well for us. Dean, does quite a good job being the suburban publican and getting people in. But the Valley and the Brickworks are, pubs that they're sort of old English style pubs, whereas Protocol's more of a bar restaurant vibe about it. So it's a little bit differently than the other others.
And of course, it's very much a family affair because your son Jack runs the Brickworks, and I spoke to Jack not long ago, and he sounds as though he really enjoys that.
Yeah, he's doing a great job down there. He's definitely a lot like his father when it comes to publican duties. So he's doing a really fantastic job. The Brickworks is going really, really well under his management.
So, what's the key? I mean, it's a pretty competitive business here, and what's the key to running a successful pub? Is there a formula you work to?
Look, I think that, well, you need a really good team behind you. And I think we've certainly got that. We've got really strong managers. And then I think, probably quite key to our business is Dean. He's, pretty well known around the areas, and he does a lot to, engage people and, keep things fresh with lots of different entertainment options. And, his phone rings non-stop from Thursday through Sunday to see which pub he might be at for a drink. So I do think, obviously there's the background stuff, which I do a lot of, which is important as well. But from a customer facing perspective, I think Dean is key.
Yeah, it's that personal touch, isn't it? I find most of the
Yeah,
successful
yeah,
pubs I know it's because of the publicans.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and of course he's a former New Zealand boxing champion, boxing rep, won the Jamison belt twice, so he's very well known in the sporting scene
Yeah,
in
bit
Christchurch.
competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's that?
yeah. It's a bit competitive in our family.
Oh, I bet between you two it would be. Do you play golf
Yeah.
together?
Oh, we have, yeah. A little bit socially, thank goodness, and it is competitive then even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as your work with the pubs, you've done a lot of you've done a bachelor of business management, majoring in accounting. So you're obviously well qualified to run the books.
Yeah, well, I think so. Yeah, yep. No, I did that quite a while ago. It seems like another lifetime ago, but yeah, I did my Bachelor of Business Management, and then after that, I moved into the work with Microsoft Software Company in Australia, which I think, the degree that I did certainly helped um, forge for our business. Those practices that I need to put in place. So
Yeah, oh, yeah, you've done really well. And of course, you came back to Christchurch from Australia not long after the tragic earthquake. That must have been a shock for you. It was a shock to me to go back and see it.
well, yeah, we actually, I was living with some friends in Australia, and we were all booked, locked and loaded to come back to Christchurch, and then the earthquake struck, and we, sort of toyed with the idea of not going, but we were pretty well committed by that stage, and so we made the move, and you know, nothing, you know, it was good. It was a good move in the end of it. It was, but when you're in Australia, seeing what's happening here, it was a hard decision.
Yeah, I bet. Is the city bouncing back? I mean, I haven't been there for about well, I don't know, 6 or 7 years to Christchurch where I was born, but is it bouncing back?
Oh, look, slowly, yeah. Look, it hasn't been easy. From the earthquake side of things, it is. It's a slow rebuild, but it is getting there. It's nice to see the city sort of coming back. But then, it's just been so challenging because with the COVID and everything else, that was just another hit that, particularly inner city took. I mean, obviously in the suburbs, we also took a hit because we couldn't operate for some time. But in saying that, we're seeing it getting better and better as we're coming out of all those issues.
Yeah, it was terrible at the time. I remember we were living in Blenheim at the time, went down to Christchurch to help my brother and his wife, and they lived just off New Brighton Road, and the whole suburb, these beautiful homes were wrecked, and it was,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, look, there's some light. I mean, look, the Valley Inn obviously got rebuilt after the September earthquake that fell down. So that was a brand new rebuild, and they did a really fantastic job of the rebuild and keeping the original sort of look and feel of it. But, on the bright side, the footprint is much bigger now, and sort of has allowed, a better business to operate out of there.
Yeah, pretty resilient, the old red and black country.
Yeah, absolutely. Need to be.
Yeah, that's for sure. And of course, back in your younger days, you were an outstanding golfer, and I read 91, 92, you became the youngest woman to make the Canterbury senior team at 15. That's fantastic. Tell us.
Not so much now. There's a lot of younger girls doing it.
Yeah, yeah. But tell us about your golfing career. How did that start?
Oh, well, my parents took on the catering at Rusty Golf Club, and we were living on site there. So obviously, being 10, 11 years old, I was a bit curious and hung around a lot in the pro shop, and they put a golf club in my hand, and it all kind of flew from there.
So the Russley Golf Course was your home track?
It was, yep. That was, member out there. I think I was going through some old documents, and I think in I want to say it was 86, I got my first letter to welcome me to the junior club at Russley. So I think that was my first membership.
Fantastic. When did you figure out fairly soon you could be quite good at it?
I was playing around to start off with, just having a hit, having a giggle, and then I was lucky because living on site, we had the pros out there, and so I had easy access to all the skills and knowledge that I really needed. So yeah, it just kind of came a bit naturally to me.
And you played, of course, in the Canterbury. You would have played in the interprovincial tournaments, and it'd be a lot of fun and pretty competitive.
Was very, yep. Yeah, so I played. I was trying to get dates, and I can't piece it all together. It was so long ago. So I played most of the interprovincials when Karen Starr was playing number one for us. And then I think the last year or 2 years she had turned pro. So I think I moved up to play number two, and Robin Cruz was playing number one for us then. So played a couple of years with that team as well, and then went on to other things.
So what did you enjoy most about the golf? Was it playing in a team, or you enjoy the individual stuff better?
Oh, I really liked the match play, the one-on-one competitive. I liked that, you could have a bad hole, put that behind you, and you could actually still win the game, whereas the stroke play kind of like you could have a bad hole and it's quite hard to pull yourself back from that. So I guess just that super competitive nature of playing one-on-one and wanting to beat that opponent. So I guess in that sense it was the team events, because most of them were, like the interprovincials were all match play.
It's a technically demanding game, golf, isn't it? And so much can go wrong. So what's the key to just sort of steeling yourself and surviving mentally, really?
It is a mental game, yeah, it really is. Look, I don't know, it's been so long since I've played. I just, I guess just that focus and that being able to forget about what's happened and looking forward to, the next hole and the hole after, and how can I turn this around, how can I win this? I mean, everybody has bad days, but, you can have a really good day and still have a bad shot, but it's actually being able to pull yourself back. And I remember one interprovincial, I think it was at Titirangi in Auckland, I was significantly down, like 7 or 8, I think 7 or 8 down at the turn and half the game.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I think the paper's headline was the comeback queen, or something to that effect.
That's a fantastic comeback. What's the hardest part of golf? What did you find off the tee, or the short game, or the putting? What?
Oh, definitely the short game, and I think everybody who plays a bit of golf knows it's the short game that's going to either make it or break it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess I know, playing other sports, playing cricket, you have a bad day in the cricket, you got to try and shut that out for the rest of the week and not sort of let it define your week. And I guess playing at the level you played at, it's even harder to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of practice in it as well, I think I find social golf now quite frustrating because I don't have the time really to go out and, go to the range and practice and whatnot. So when you hit the golf course and you haven't played for such a really long time and it's not what it used to be, I find that quite frustrating. So I think that, is the practice that goes in behind the scenes that really gets you to where you want to be if you want to be good at it.
Yeah. What was your best round off the stick?
Oh God, I can't even remember. Like I say, stroke play wasn't really my thing, so I think 2 or 3 over was probably my best round, but I was more focused on match play.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. You must look at people like Lydia Ko from New Zealand doing us proud, and the way she's so consistent.
Yeah, and so composed.
I know.
Like she handles herself really well, and right from a really young age, she's always had that composure. So she does a great job. Yeah.
So you and Dean haven't had a shootout yet? You say you played a little bit together. But...
Look, it's always competitive. We were always like, oh, I took that one out, and there's always a bit of a debate about who's won the game and who hasn't. So, but it's all just fun for us now.
Yeah. Just getting back to the pubs, how does, like in the rugby season, is that a big attraction for people to come and watch the rugby at the pubs?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think it's been really interesting because this year, obviously, the rugby's come back because the last couple of years have been a bit, diabolical with that. And just seeing the crowds and even just the city when, Argentina were here the other week, just having those crowds back in town, it just is amazing hospitality. And it's what we've missed for the last 2 years. So, our businesses go particularly well on the rugby nights. We have the Valley and the Brickworks in particular, I guess they're a little bit more sporty type bars than Protocol, but we have all the screens there. There's really good viewing down there, so we always draw quite a crowd on those nights.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, the frustrating thing for me in Christchurch is the lack of the decent stadium. It's taken so long to get the thing cracking. I mean, that'll just be amazing, I'm sure, when that's completed.
Not just for sport, but for concerts and all sorts of things, and getting the vibe back into the city, definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Genaea, thanks a lot for chatting to us, and I'll look forward to visiting the Valley Inn, at least certainly on November when we come over from the Gold Coast, and wish you and Dean all the best, and Jack, and of course anyone wanting to go for a drink in Christchurch, you know where to go, the Valley Inn, Brickworks or the Protocol bars, and Genaea and certainly Dean will be down there to welcome you. Great stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Genaea.